Hey there, and welcome to our cooking class today on short ribs in our Instant Pot. I love this meal and I think it is so fantastic to serve to guests when they come over, or even for like a cold day when you want comfort food. It is super easy because you cook it all in the Instant Pot. There's no more pans to wash, just this one. All right, let's get started. Okay, so I have about 4 pounds of beef short ribs that we're gonna sear first. So turn your Instant Pot on to saute mode, and you're gonna want that to start heating up. And while that's getting hot, we're gonna make the coating we're gonna make the coating for our ribs. All right, so we're gonna need 1/3 of a cup of tapioca starch. I'm gonna give you 2 options. I'm making this recipe paleo today, so I'm not using cut for cup flour for gluten-free, but you definitely could just use gluten-free flour and like steak seasoning for this. Instead, I'm using tapioca starch and the paleo powder seasoning. But you can do it either way, it'll turn out fantastic. So tapioca starch, about 1/3 of a cup, and I'm putting that on a plate because we're gonna roll our short ribs in it, and then 1/4 cup of the paleo seasoning. All right, perfect. Okay, and then to this I'm also gonna add a pinch of salt. And there's a little bit of pepper in it already, but I'm gonna add a little bit more. Okay. My Instant Pot is getting nice and hot, so I'm almost ready to put in a drizzle of olive oil. All right, so now I'm gonna mix this powder up, the tapioca starch and the seasoning on my plate. If you're using flour, steak seasoning, salt and pepper, you do the same thing. Just put it on a plate and kind of mix it up with your fingers. Or you could use a spoon if you'd like. I just find it so much easier to use my fingers for stuff like this. All right, I'm gonna put a drizzle of olive oil into my Instant Pot, and it is nice and hot. And we're gonna coat the short ribs and cook them on all sides real quick until they're brown, and then take them out, and then we'll finish adding the rest of the ingredients, and then we'll let the Instant Pot do the rest. All right, so go ahead and roll your short ribs in the coating. And the tapioca starch in it helps get them nice and brown, but it also helps to thicken your sauce. Okay. And you're gonna wanna work in batches because my Instant Pot, and probably yours too, aren't big enough to hold all of these at one time for them to get a nice sear. And if your ribs are a little uneven like mine are, you can use your fingers just to rub it on it. It does not have to be perfect. All right, that looks really good. I'm gonna put it in. You wanna hear a nice sizzle. Just like that. And I'm gonna put 3 in here at a time. And like I said, just work in batches until they are golden brown, and then flip them on all sides. All right, now these are all brown, and I'm gonna take them out and set them on the plate. They look fantastic and smell even better. All right, now we're gonna start on the rest of the ingredients to go in here. So first off, if you don't have enough olive oil left in there to saute with, just go ahead and add some more. I have quite a bit. I'm gonna throw in my mirepoix, which is just a fancy way of saying carrot, celery, and onions chopped up. I'm gonna add that right in. I'm using a frozen mix today, but you can also buy it fresh. And we're gonna give it a stir. And while those are heating up, I'm gonna chop up my garlic. I just have 1 clove of garlic to chop up and throw that right in there with the mirepoix mix. And if you wanted to make homemade mirepoix, you totally could. It's just carrot, celery, and onion. I personally, especially because if this is like a weeknight meal or I don't want to chop all the things, I find that super convenient to use the frozen or fresh already chopped for me mixes. All right, just like a little rough chop on our garlic. You don't want it too big of pieces, but you don't have to be super picky. All right, looks good. Put that right in with the rest of it. And give it a little stir. Okay, careful, this is hot when you're touching it. Okay, that smells so fantastic. We're gonna add about 1 tablespoon of Italian seasoning. And give it a stir. Okay, that looks really good. All right, I'm gonna add in about 1/4 cup of tomato paste, and I have the squeezy tube paste, and I'm just gonna eyeball it. You can go ahead and measure if you like, but I know it's like about that much. It's about 1/4 cup. I like the tube of tomato paste because it's double concentrated. It gives really good tomato flavor. All right, then we're also gonna add in half of a jar of tomato sauce. You can use your favorite pasta sauce just to add additional layers of that tomato flavoring. A half a box of beef stock or beef broth, and if you have homemade, you can totally add that many ounces of it as well. And once again, I'm just gonna eyeball it. And then a half of a bottle of red wine. And I'm using a Paleo Italian wine today. You can use whatever wine you have open or whatever wine you like to drink with dinner. I always recommend cooking with wine that you like to drink as well. And since the braised short ribs are going over palmini pasta or regular pasta, ooh, it's a little hard. Woo! There you go. My favorite sound. You can just pour in half your bottle of wine and you're gonna eyeball it. All right, a little bit more. Perfect, that looks like a perfect half bottle of wine. I'm gonna give it all a stir together. Oh my gosh, the sauce smells so good already. So now we're gonna add our short ribs back into it. We're gonna turn off the saute mode, and then we'll put the lid on and we'll cook it for 75 minutes on high. So you wanna put your short ribs in and dunk them under the sauce so that they all get covered with the liquid. Just kind of arrange them in there as best you can. And while it cooks, the meat's gonna be falling right off the bone. It's gonna be so delicious. You could also serve this if you didn't wanna do a pasta with it, or palmini like I'm doing. You could also serve it over like mashed potatoes or a cheesy polenta. All fantastic options. All right, so got those all down into the liquid, just like that. All right, go ahead and make sure that it's on the seal mode, not the vent mode, and turn it on to manual and increase your time to 75 minutes, and we'll see it when it's all done. All right, now that our Instant Pot has cooked for 75 minutes, we can release the pressure and do so carefully because you don't want to get burned. My favorite way to do this is by using a kitchen towel and clicking on the release vent feature, and all the steam will come out. Mine has sat for about 30 minutes past the time, so I didn't have a lot of steam to release, and that's totally fine. If you make this in the morning, you can also just let it sit all day until you're ready to eat and then release the pressure, and it will keep it nice and warm and it will be perfect. All right, so I'm gonna release the lid. Ooh, man, it smells so good. All right. So now I'm gonna put it in my serving bowl and I'm gonna garnish it with some fresh parsley. And like I said, you can serve this over palmini noodles, mashed potatoes, cheesy polenta, anything carby and delicious, or non-carby like cauliflower mash and celery root mash as well. And you can see the meat is just falling off the bone. Oh, that one just lost the bone altogether. So I will try to get them into the serving dish. I always try to serve it with the shank in it if I can, because it looks pretty for presentation. You're gonna wanna scoop this delicious broth that it cooked in all over your pasta or your potatoes or whatever you decide to serve it with. I'm gonna scoop some of this delicious broth all over it. You could also pour it if you wanted to. All right, now I'm gonna garnish it with some parsley and we'll be all ready to serve it. So you just wanna chop up your parsley. Okay, and give it a little sprinkle for some beautiful greenery right on top. Oh my goodness, this looks delicious. I really hope you enjoyed this cooking class on Instant Pot short ribs. I can't wait to see you in the next class. And as always, best wishes for gluten-free dishes, and I hope you have a great rest of your day.